Hello, my yarny friends. I'm Sara Sach. Welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video is our Friday fun project, and I think you're really going to love making this particular project. It is a razzleberry summer weight scarf or cowl. You can make it in long and not put your ends together, and it's a scarf. Put your ends together, it's a beautiful cowl. You can also twist it to make it an infinity cowl. You can even add a tie with some beads for extra fun. It's just a wonderful pattern. It's super easy. It's a 1-row open V-stitch repeat. It's light, it's airy, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Now I made this using the Premier Hipster Cotton. This particular color is called, let me look on my paperwork here. It's called Berry Rumble, but I called it the Razzleberry because it looks like a raspberry pie to me with all the different berries and the crust. But I think it's absolutely gorgeous. You could wear it with anything in the summer. And this yarn has wonderful drape, and it just lays so pretty, and it's very soft. And the yarn itself has like a what I would call a watercolor look, the way the colors sort of blend in each other. You can see it's not like solids. They're like mottled almost, and it's absolutely gorgeous yarn. Okay, now you can find the complete pattern for this project on my blog. And as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. I love this project because it is just so versatile, and I love something that can be worn or used in lots of different ways, and that's what this razzleberry summer scarf does. To make our razzleberry summer scarf or cowl, you're going to need 1 skein of Hipster Cotton, or another kind of cotton yarn that is a medium weight number 4. And you're going to need 3.5 ounces, or about 229 yards. And that's what comes on just one of these skeins of Hipster Cotton from Premier. I'll put my affiliate link underneath this video if you want to go and look at all the beautiful colors. This is one of my favorite cottons to use, especially for summer. It is a medium weight number 4, but it's on the thinner side. It's not quite a 3. It's one of those yarns I call a 3.5 because it's thicker than a 3 weight, but not quite as thick as a 4 weight yarn. And it's lovely and soft, and it's perfect for summer projects. It has beautiful drape. Okay, now this scarf itself measures about 9 inches across, and it's about 32 inches around. Now, if you want to make a shorter one, you can do less rows. If you want to make it longer, you can do more rows, because it's a very simple open V-stitch 1-row repeat. All right, so you basically need 3.5 ounces of a medium weight number 4 cotton, but make sure it's one of the really soft ones for a really nice fit. All right, now I have my beads out here, and that's because on the tie we're going to add some beads, and you're going to need about 8 or 12 depending on what you want. I just grabbed these plastic pony beads, and I'm going to try to match them with the blue and the pink. It's kind of a purpley pink, so I'll probably use like this one, these colors. Okay, but you can see I've also got some white and some beige in there, so we'll see. I might change my mind, but you're going to need about 8 or 10 beads of your choice, and this is your just regular pony beads, the little bit smaller size ones. I don't have the measurements on those. If you go to your local craft store, you'll see that there are regular size pony beads and the smaller ones, and I'm using the smaller ones on this one. And again, you don't have to use the beads, that's optional. It's just for the ties of the cowl or scarf or infinity scarf. All right, now we're going to be using our H hook which is a 5mm crochet hook, and then you just need a needle to weave in ends, and of course, a pair of scissors. To begin our scarf, we're going to start with a slip knot, and we're going to loosely chain 31 chains. Now it's very important that you chain those beginning chains a little bit loose, because if you're going to let it just hang, you don't want it puckering on the end. But if you're going to join the two ends together, you want those two ends to meet up nicely. So basically, we don't want our beginning chain to pucker up. We want it to lay nice and pretty. All right, so we're going to loosely chain 31 chains. I have stitched 31 chains a little bit loose, and we're going to begin by stitching a row of double crochets. So we're going to go in the fourth chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, and stitch a double crochet. This chain through at the beginning will count as our first, and then we stitched 1. And now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those chains, working all the way across our row. And remember, this particular project needs to be stitched in a loose or lacy style. It's summer weight. We want it to be flowy and to have nice drape. We began with 31 chains. We stitched a double crochet in the fourth chain from the hook. We count this chain 3 as 1 stitch, and so we have a total of 29 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. We're going to double crochet in the next 2 double crochets. And chain 1. We're going to skip 2 double crochets, and then in that next double crochet we're going to stitch a V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the same stitch. Chain 1, skip 2, and V-stitch in the next. Chain 1, skip 2, and V-stitch in the next. And see how that makes a nice open V-stitch? Let's repeat this across until we reach those last 3 stitches. So we chained 1, skip 2, V-stitch in the next. Chain 1, skip 2, V-stitch in the next. Chain 1, skip 2, V-stitch in the next. All right, so then we're going to have 7 V stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 V stitches with our chain 1s in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that leaves us 5 stitches on the end. So we chain 1, we skip 2, and then we put 1 double crochet in these last 3 stitches. 1, 2, there we go, 3. And then we'll chain 3. All right, so for row 2 we have 3 double crochets, chain 1, V-stitch with skipping 2, 7 of those, then we chain 1, skip 2, and 1 double crochet in the last 3 stitches. And this, as you can see, is why it was important not to make that beginning chain too tightly. If it was tight, your project would curl like this. And we don't want that. We want it to lay nice and pretty. And that's how row 2 should look. Now we're ready for row 3. We've stitched our chain 3. We're going to turn our work. We're going to double crochet in those next 2 double crochets. 1, 2. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go to the chain 1 space in our V-stitch and stitch a V-stitch, which again is a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet, and then chain 1. And then we'll repeat this across, chain 1 and V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch in each of those 7 V-stitches. There we go. All right, looks like we got 2 more left. Chain, oops, forgot to chain 1. You have to chain 1 in between each V-stitch if you want it to be nice and open and lacy. There we go. Got to have that chain 1 in between. Here's my last V-stitch. Chain 1 and then 1 double crochet in those last 3 double crochets. And chain 3. So again, we have 3 double crochets, chain 1 with our V stitches, with our chain 1s in between, and then 3 double crochets and chain 3. And you can already see it has a nice open and lacy look. Let's do row 4. So we've chained 3. We're going to turn our work. We're going to double crochet in those next 2 double crochets, because remember, on every row, that chain 3 at the beginning counts as your first double crochet. Chain 1, V-stitch in the V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch in the V-stitch, and we'll repeat this all the way across. I have stitched a V-stitch with chain 1s in between all the way across. Again, we have 7. Chain 1 and then 1 double crochet in those last 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. And chain 3. And that's the way the row 4 should look. All right, let's do row 5. Chain 3, turn, double crochet in the next 2 double crochets, chain 1, V-stitch, chain 1 in each of the V-stitches across, and then again we'll end with that chain 1 and 1 double crochet in the last 3 stitches. And I think by now you understand how the 1 row repeat works. This is one of those fun projects you can take along with you. Make it while you're in the car or on the plane, and then you've got something to keep you busy, and then something lovely to wear when you get there. So we have 3 double crochets, chain 1, V-stitch in the next V-stitch, repeat that all the way across, chain 1 and 3 double crochets. So you see it's a super easy pattern that comes out super beautiful. I just really love the way this one lays. And I think you're really going to enjoy, if you get a chance to get some of the Hipster Cotton from Premier, I think you're really going to enjoy working with it. It's such a beautiful yarn. It has kind of like a watercolor effect look to it to me. And it's just perfect for some of the summer projects that I like to do. And so what we're going to do is we're going to continue to repeat row 5 for 66 more rows, or more if you want a longer scarf, or less if you want a shorter scarf. It's really up to you. Now for the pattern, to get the length that I wanted, which was 32 inches long, I did 66 more rows. Now one thing to keep in mind is if you've got your tape measure handy, you can measure as you go. You can also just lay it around your neck if you're on the plane or in a car. See if it hits you where you want it, to lay. All right, so we're going to continue to repeat row 5 for 66 more rows, or for whatever length you prefer. So I have stitched as many rows as needed for the length that I need. So I have a total of 71 rows, counting our first row of double crochet and all the rows that I stitched. I have 71 rows. It's going to give me about a 32 to 34 inch cowl. And the reason I say that is because this is a very stretchy stitch, and so it might be stretched out and a little bit longer. So it gives you a little bit of what I say wiggle room. Our chain 3 counts is our first double crochet, and then we'll double crochet in those next 2 double crochets. Then we'll double crochet in the chain 1 space, and that brings us to the V-stitch. And we'll only double crochet in the 2 double crochets of the V-stitch, not the chain 1 space in the middle. All right, so then we'll come to the next chain 1 space and stitch a double crochet. There we go. And then 1 double crochet in the 2 double crochets of the next V-stitch. Double crochet in the chain 1 space, and then 1 double crochet in the 2 double crochets of the next V-stitch. And that's the way that it'll work all the way across, so that we have a nice solid row of double crochets. So I completed that row of double crochets. Looks really pretty, and it looks really nice as a lightweight summer scarf. You could toss it across your shoulders. You could just wear it with a sundress or a tank top, dress up a sundress, dress up a tank top, just to add a little pop of color. But if you would prefer to make this into what I call an infinity cowl or an infinity scarf, it's really simple. All you need to do is you can either just put the ends together and slip stitch them, and that will make the tube, and then you can also set that across your shoulders, or you could take your scarf and do a twist in it, and that will give a twist down here. I don't really prefer the twist for this one, but if you do, you can do it that way as well. All right, so we're just going to stitch it together along the bottom, and we're going to slip stitch these 2 ends of double crochets together. It's really, really easy, whether you put a twist in your cowl or you just left it straight like I did and made a tube. It's really, really easy. All right, so we're going to come through the last stitch on this side and the last stitch on this side. Grab that loop and pull it through. I'll make a little chain 1, and now we're just going to slip stitch them together. So we'll go through the next one here and the next one here and slip stitch that. Yarn over, pull the loop through, then pull that loop through the loop on your hook. If you prefer, you can single crochet it as well. It's sort of up to you and what you prefer. Both ways work just fine. And make sure you keep everything lined up and even. And that's another reason we wanted to do that initial chain nice and loose so that everything lines up evenly. And if we have to stretch it a little, or what we call ease it in, it'll fit just fine. So we're just going to slip stitch across, stitching the two ends together to form a tube. I have stitched it all the way together, slip stitching the front and the back together. And now I'm going to cut my yarn. And of course, we'll take that needle and weave this in. Now, I'm going to add a tie with some beads on it. You do not have to. If you like it just like it is, that's totally fine because it is really pretty. But I'm going to add a tie and some beads just for a little bit of summer fun. All right, so once you've stitched that, you're going to want to turn it over so that all you have on this side is a seam, and you have a beautiful scarf. And so this is how the cowl or infinity scarf should look. And if you added the twist, of course, you're going to have a twist. But I didn't on this one because I kind of wanted to be able to set it on my shoulders, say over a sundress or tank top if I wanted to. And I really, really love the way that it looks. And here's where our seam is right here. It looks really nice and neat. Here is where our seam is. It looks really nice and neat. And you can just put that in the back if you want to, so it doesn't show when you wear it. Or you can put it over to the side. It's up to you how you want to wear it. I almost always end up putting it on the side. I feel like it's less noticeable. All right, let's make that tie I was talking about for just a little extra add of summer fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with 2 strands of our yarn and hold them together. And we want to have about a 10-inch tail of yarn when we begin, because this is where we're going to put those beads, all right? And so we'll make our slip knot, and we're going to chain 50 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Started with a long tail. I chained 50 chains, and now we're going to end with a long tail. There we go. And tie off. And again, we use 2 strands of our yarn. All right, so we're going to put a knot in the end. And push that up as close to the end as we can get it, and the same thing on this side. All right. All right, now we have to decide where we want to put our tie. And I'm going to put it in this beige section where it looks like pie crust so that the punch of color will really show up, okay? And so what we want to do is in these 3 double crochets, we want to just bring this through, okay? And I like to kind of go through there. I want it to hold. I don't want it to come off. And so I'm just going to bring it back through like that, all right? And then I'll take this one and go around and come back up. It's just if it comes untied, it gives it a little something to catch it with, basically. All right, so I want to try to get them even and just tie a knot. Nothing special, just a knot. And we don't want this tie itself to be real long because we don't want it hanging down in our way, all right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab those beads and put some on if you want to. If you don't want any, just clip these off and you've got a nice tie. All right, so I'm going to grab my needle here And the way we're going to do this is we're going to separate the two. I'm going to put my needle on here, and I'm going to grab some of these purples and blues and just put a few of those on there. And I'm not going with any particular order. I'm just putting on a few, and I'm going to push those up. And then I'll take the other strand and do the same thing. If I had some white or beige beads, I would add those also for the other color, but I don't, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm just using the blue and the kind of purpley color. All right, so I'm going to push those up. And I want there to be some movement in it, so I'm not going to tie them in any way. I'm just going to come to here. And tie a knot. And I did 2 knots right on top of each other, and then I'm just going to cut that. And those beads will just hang there and be pretty. I like that a lot. You can make it so that they stay up higher if you want to, but it's totally up to you. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this other tie. So now I have a fun summer cowl or scarf with a nice tie, and you can always put a bow on that if you want to. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. You know, but I just really like it hanging. I think it's pretty. And it's just a fun summer vibe to it. And it's great, like if you have a nice sundress, you want to take it on a cruise, it gets a little cool in the evening on the ocean, you can put this across your shoulders. You can wear it with a tank top, a dress, pair of jeans, and a tube top, whatever you want to wear with it. It's just a really fun summer addition to your summer wardrobe. It drapes beautifully, and all these colors in this yarn of this hipster cotton are absolutely gorgeous.